I want to read these passages as encouragement because there's a lot of people out there that think that their life is not redeemable. They have too many flaws. They've sinned too much. They've done all these, so-called bad things. And I want to pick out some people in our history, and we want to start with Moses. Moses. He took the life of a person. um, in Exodus 2, 11 and 12. And then he had an encounter with God in Exodus 3. And then by Exodus 12, he had freed the slaves. Rahab was a prostitute. She helped hide some spies by being obedient to God, and she was spared her life. And the ones who were disobedient to God lost their lives. Hebrews 11:31. Saul, if anybody's familiar with Saul, in Acts 8:3, he was active in destroying the church and put women and men in prison. Acts 9:1, he was taking threats out on the disciples of the Lord. By Acts 9:3, he had an encounter on the way to Damascus with Jesus. And many men were afraid of him, but God changed his heart. Saul began to spread the gospel, and he was an advocate for the Lord by Acts 13. A Samaritan woman that God had, or Jesus had met at the well, she was a little bit confused that Jesus was talking to her because at that time Samaritans and Jews were not on friendly terms. Let's just say it that way. He was able to have an encounter with her and tell her some truths about ourselves. But the key point was when he sent her on her way, he said, "Now go and sin no more." It's followed up again in a different story with John 8, the lady that was caught in adultery. Jesus said, he was without sin be the first to throw a stone. He was referring to the people who were trying to prosecute her by throwing stones at her. And then Jesus asked her, "Has anyone condemned you?" She said, "No, sir." "Then neither do I condemn you," Jesus declared. "Go now and leave your life of sin." John 8:11. Now, understand that Jesus is very, very merciful in being able to look at our lives, help us change our lives for those who want to repent. Repent is not saying, "God, I'm sorry." Repent is saying, "I don't want to do that action, and I want to turn away from that type of activity." But also know that knowing the truth, you will be held accountable for what you know. In Hebrews 10:26, it says, "If we deliberately keep on sinning after we have received the knowledge of truth, no sacrifice for sin is left." So I hope this message helps someone to know that, like, hey, you're never going to be too far gone. There's many people in biblical history that were able to turn it around. That came from rough backgrounds, that came from good backgrounds, all different types of things. So I hope this message brought a light of encouragement. And once again, no regret, no retreat, no surrender, unless it's the Christ. Y'all have a beautiful day.